Morning, folks. Thank you very much for joining us today at Coffee with Community Services, Alta California Regional Center's weekly service provider meeting. My name is John Decker, the Director of Community Services. Thank you very much for joining us here today. We have 58 folks on and more that are joining. I am going to go. We don't have any new staff to introduce today. So we are going to go actually right into our agenda. So we are going to have a Deaf Culture 101 and Sign of the Week with Alta's Deaf and Hard of Hearing specialist, Michael Mercado. We are going to get an update from Carly about the DSP Collaborative Job Fair that was held yesterday. We're going to get an update from Rhonda about our presentation that we had at Cal Tash last week. We have an update from our accounting department as well about the new bill payer assignments. I know that you as service providers always want to know who to reach out to within our accounting department. So that's been updated. We have some new directives. There is a new job development directive that has been posted. There's also a new directive that outlines the responsibility of case management when it comes to making determinations as part of the planning team. So we're going to share those with you. We have a spotlight from Heim Healthcare that is going to be presenting as well. So I'm going to get us started and kick it off in Spotlight, Michael Mercado.
All right. Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be focusing on St. Patrick's Day because it's coming up. So I figured I'd take advantage of this time. We're going to learn 3 different signs related to it. So we're going to learn Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're going to learn the color green. And then we're also going to learn the sign for a shamrock. Is everybody ready? All right. So first, happy looks like this. And then you're going to do an L with your finger, like you're pinching on your shoulder and turning it. Don't actually hurt yourself, guys. Just pretend like you're doing it. Again, so we're going to do happy with those flat hands and then like a pinch. And then next we're going to do green. So you're going to take a 5-hand shape, kind of go into a L, and then it turns into your thumb and your index finger kind of swerving out towards each other. That's the color green. It's the letter G. And then lastly, we're going to do shamrock, which your weak hand or your non-dominant hand is going to be the hand that makes the straight pointer finger or index finger. And you're going to come out and make 3 loops around it, showing the shape of a shamrock and what it looks like. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So now we're going to put all 3 together. Happy, St. Patrick's, and then green, and shamrock. Perfect. Good job, everybody. So I will, of course, send the link so you guys can practice more on your own time. And then I will have more signs. If you guys have specific words or signs that are, your favorite related to, the specific day coming up, let me know. Send them to me and I'll be happy to teach them in future coffee conversations. So now for Deaf Culture 101, I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a moment. So this is Claudia Gordon. She is the first deaf lawyer in the United States of America. So I want to give a little bit of background about her experiences growing up. So she was actually not born here. She was born in Jamaica. She was born hearing. As she grew up, she had a pretty normal childhood. Her family was very poor, but she still had a really great childhood growing up with her family, regardless of their economic status. She became deaf at 8 years old, and it was very impactful and life-changing for her. especially in a country where they don't have access. There are no civil rights laws, nothing in place for protection for anyone with disabilities. So she struggled specifically with society's perception of what deaf people should be or look like. And her school was a hearing school, so it was mainstreamed, and she didn't quite know how to be a deaf student. They didn't know how to teach her. They didn't want her to come to school anymore. So they told her that she would need to stay home because they were not able to accommodate her needs. And that continued for 2 years of education. She was isolated, alone, frustrated, and had no communication during that time. She didn't have anything to accommodate her needs, no interpreters, no note takers, just no communication, just complete language depravity. Then later on in her life, Claudia and her mother moved to New York City, and she went to a school, and it's called Lexington School for the Deaf. That's where all the students are deaf. And also, they're able to learn in an inclusive environment where the teachers are teaching in sign language. Everyone signs at the school. So it was something that she truly enjoyed. And for the first time, she could fully communicate and understand everything. She felt included. She felt connected, as apart from being alone. So Claudia became very successful in accepting her deaf identity. And she felt proud of that culture and that identity. Once she learned American Sign Language, she felt very confident in herself. So being around other deaf students just showed that deaf people can become professionals, and they can become leaders as well. And they helped her believe that she could become a lawyer and have those aspirations. So the reason she was successful in her journey is because she accepted her deaf identity. She became part of the culture. She had access at that point. She was able to show that deaf people don't have limits. Truly, the problem is the lack of access. It's not because she doesn't have hearing or because she was deaf. So it definitely had a huge impact on her when it came to working in law, in government, in the White House. She has showed so much support for disability rights. She has made a lot of policy changes. She shows us representative of the deaf community as a deaf person. She has disability stories and challenges and so many things that she shares. So she has a really high level of professional work, and it proves everyone wrong that thinks deaf people can't do it, because they absolutely can. She's able to connect with deaf culture because she has language access in the community. And that changed everything for her life. So remember, when she was in her home country, she had no American Sign Language, she had no communication, she was very isolated. So having that communication, having that language gave her the confidence that she needed. She's proud to be a deaf person. She's proud of the culture and the opportunities that it has given her. So that's basically her life in a nutshell, just showing her success in fighting, and to show anyone that you can fight for and become whatever you want to be. Whether you have a disability, you don't want to be limited to the I can't or I'm not able to. You are able to. You are able to reach those goals. Whether you're deaf or hard of hearing, if you have maybe deaf or hard of hearing clients in your program, maybe they're not able to communicate, maybe they don't use sign language, but it's very isolating. So I really encourage you guys to get in contact with me. I am the deaf and hard of hearing specialist. I can support you and figure out how to best make your program successful with your clients, as well as there is a new service code, and that's 644, and that's ASL training in support of goals, to make sure that all of the deaf and hard of hearing consumers don't feel that isolation and that loneliness when it comes to communication. We can thrive and we can improve in that arena. It's very important. So thank you all for listening to me today.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael, as always. All right. Why don't I do this? I'm going to throw it over to Carly now. Carly had the pleasure of participating in a fun activity yesterday, and so I'll let Carly take it away.
Thanks, John. Great. Are you seeing my screen?
We sure are.
All right. So as John said yesterday, I had the opportunity to go down to Pasadena to support the LA County Regional Centers for their first Disability Industry Career Expo Job Fair for the DSP Collaborative expansion. These are just a handful of the photos I took. We had a pretty good turnout. I mean, it's especially during in the beginning, it was nice to see so many providers come out and support and see all the job seekers attending as well. I don't know if we have any vendors in this meeting today that also serve down in that area and are possibly here and want to chat about their experiences. Okay. I
Did you
assume
run? I was
not.
going to say, did you run into any down there? Probably. I don't know because
Um,
again, services are a little localized.
Yeah, so their CRSIL, California Resource
Yeah.
Services, was there. And there were a couple, I think PALS, are they one of our early intervention? They were there as well. They were the only two that I personally recognized, though I wouldn't be surprised if there were others, in other services that I'm just not as familiar with. And then at the end, we all took a group picture. I was really impressed with the turnout from the LA County Regional Centers. We had these fun little lays, which was a great idea. If you were a blue, you were a floater. If you were green, I think you were on traffic duty. It was definitely really easy to identify who the volunteers were and what everyone was doing and where everyone was. So it was a really great event. It was awesome to connect with the staff from the other regional centers. There were other employment specialists that I've only ever met over Zoom, so it was nice to connect with them in person. Looking forward to seeing how the expansion pans out. I know they have two more job fairs. I don't think there's dates for them yet, but one I think they said in the summer and one closer to fall.
Well, thank you very much for supporting those regional centers like in this expansion. I know locally our service providers have really appreciated the opportunity to participate in these job fairs in the job board. I'm hoping that you saw some of that same goodwill down there, down at the job fair that they had, which had about twice as many like vendors involved than our biggest job fair, right?
Yeah, and unfortunately there was a pretty high rate of no call no shows for the vendors.
Uh-oh.
So I think we probably ended up with maybe 50 to 60
Okay.
vendors.
Not too
So I
bad.
mean it was still a very good turnout.
Very good. And then as far as people coming in and foot traffic, it seemed like, people were
It
getting folks
was
to talk to.
Yeah, it was a steady stream of people coming in. If anyone remembers our first event, there was like lines and lines. There weren't really a lot of lines, but it was a pretty steady trickling in of people. So, which I think is beneficial because then, you're not all fighting over who to talk to and giant crowds gathering around and you can't talk to everyone there.
Especially
So
for a
there
hiring
was
event.
a
Yeah.
yeah, there is a pretty decent turnout of job seekers.
Excellent. Well, again, something that starts off at, our, Valley Mountain and Alta California Regional Center, spreading to then 7 regional centers. That's a lot more staff that can help, Carly and I when it comes to the, DSP collaborative efforts that we're doing. So we're very excited about that. Thank you, Carly. We'll make sure that we get some information out in our newsletter next month about this as well. So right on. Thank you very much, Carly. Alrighty. I wanted to see now if I could throw it over to Edna, who I saw on here a little bit earlier from Chaim Healthcare.
Hello, hello, John. Hello, everybody. Yes, this is Edna from HIM Healthcare. And I have a presentation just to introduce our company. Let me see what I could share. I believe you all can see my screen.
Yeah, says who we are.
Yes. So I really appreciate this opportunity just to, to come and introduce our company. We're pretty new, but we know things are going to, we've just been vendorized end of last year. We just began this year, yes. So we're pretty new. And we want to actually, first of all, just give you a perspective of what Hayem means. Hayem means life in Hebrew, and you can see it's embodied in our logo, just vitality, that kind of thing. And we are a coordinated family support provider for the Alta Regional Center. Our mission is to empower individuals with developmental disabilities, just making sure that we support them as they live with their families and just help them live meaningful and self-directed lives. We serve the following areas in the following counties: the Sacramento County, El Dorado, Placer, and Yolo. The languages we support are English, we support Spanish, Mandarin, Filipino. But over and above this, we use a lot of technology, and we have translation services where we use technology to translate over 100 languages. We serve individuals with developmental disabilities according to WIC 4512, and these are consumers who are basically living in family homes. They could be multicultural, they could be multilingual. All these services, all these people we cover. And these are mainly communities in the Alta Regional Center region. Some of our focuses are person-centered services, which are IPP driven. We're always focusing on the individual's preferences, his strengths, and also what they desire for their future. We are also making sure that the individual is the center of all the decisions regarding to their life. So we don't have just one size fits all. We make sure that the services for the individual are tailor-made according to the individual. We observe self-determination principles, that ensuring that the individual is the primary decision maker in planning the whole process of the support that we give them. We also make sure that the families are included. That's family-centered collaboration. We're always collaborating with the families and making sure that the entire family unit is supported, recognizing that they are actually a crucial part of the support system for these particular individuals. We have inclusive opportunities. We have education support. In this, I mean making sure that the individuals know what services are available to them, and anything that they require for us to support them, that is to make them learn different things and to give them more knowledge about what they need. We have skill building and habilitation, social engagement, making sure that they're integrated in society, and personal growth and development in accordance to whatever they feel is personal growth as best fits them. We also observe consumer rights. We are very cognizant of that. and uphold it dearly, protection of civil and legal rights, making sure that there's freedom from abuse and neglect, confidentiality protections, and self-service environments. We promote independence. These individuals need to have functional life skills. They need to be able to get to a point where they're making decisions. So we support them in decision-making ability. We also support them to make sure that they can be able to participate in communities so that they just live normal lives like any other person. And also increasing independence, making sure that they're able to stand on their own 2 feet. Vendor accountability. We are accountable as a vendor. Hayim observes the Title 17 vendorization compliance, and we provide staff training and supervision in this regard, background clearances, special incident reporting procedures. We are also documentation. We also are compliant as far as documentation is concerned. We document everything we do, and we ensure compliance, like IPP-based assessments, quarterly outcome reports. Make sure that the service logs are tied to authorized services, billing integrity, and attendance verification. Thank you. Are there any questions before I hand it back to Mr. John?
I was just hoping that you could put your information in the chat, just your contact information in there,
Okay.
so that people
Okay.
can email you.
I will do
And
that right now.
this is just a reminder, like we have we did 331 brand new vendorizations last year.
Okay.
There are before COVID, folks, we used to do less than 100 new vendorizations a year at our regional center. So we are doing significantly more vendorizations now than we did previously. And some of your companies, like these folks, might want to have an interest in getting the word out. And so please take this opportunity, just like they did. It's kind of, it can be a little nerve-wracking doing a presentation like this at a setting, but Zach is going to drop his contact information in the chat for you to look at doing additional scheduling. I want to acknowledge Shauna, who updated our flyer that we're going to actually be sending out this week for next week's spotlight. So thank you so much, Edna, and great to have you with us and providing this service. We believe that coordinated family supports really align very closely with what we're trying to do to support our aging caregivers as well. And being able to have, culturally competent supports for individuals in their own homes in this area is huge. So thank you so much for the presentation today.
Thank you so much, John, for the opportunity. And I'm just putting my information on the chat.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
I will do a plug. Some of you might remember. So next week, we're going to do another spotlight as well. This one we're going to send out because it's one that we've had previously. We had, you guys seeing my shared screen there with the Kibu on it? Hopefully you're not reading my emails instead. Okay, good. So we had these guys, oh my goodness, a year ago, I think, or more. When they came on last time, they talked a little bit about their content that they provide, which is a lot of the video content and like live streaming content that you can utilize as providers. But they also have like an electronic health record platform as well. So anyways, just a heads up, they're going to be coming back next week to give some updates about what's been going on with them, some new partnerships. Rhonda and I had a good opportunity to meet with them just a couple days ago, I think. So anyways, that'll be coming up here shortly as well for spotlights. All right. Actually, Rhonda, I think if I can find what I'm looking for here on my screen, I think I'm going to throw it to you next as well. Jay, go ahead, please.
I just had a question about the last one. That's not considered generative AI.
It is not considered
Okay.
no. We did have a great discussion though about how they utilize AI within their platform, like for some of their um, electronic health record stuff, which was interesting. So maybe that could be a portion of the questions that you guys ask them next week, because every company that I'm talking to, and even ourselves, like in the use of like our new performance evaluation thing, there's little AI components that are built into it. And so Rhonda and I had a good time talking to was it Daniel from Kibu a couple days ago about all of this. So we'll be excited about sharing this with you guys here as well. Additionally, so Rhonda, we had an opportunity, if I could find my screen I want to share here real quick, to be able to present at the Cal Tash conference. And so, Rhonda, would you mind sharing a little bit about that? I'm gonna navigate my screen to Alta's homepage so that you guys can see where the presentation materials are. But yeah, Rhonda, what did we get a chance to do?
Thanks, John. Yeah, we got an opportunity to talk to folks about all the progress that we've been making on our multifamily housing. We talked about how housing access services and the roommate matching app are expanding statewide, and then we gave a little bit of an update on kind of what's been happening with our pilot. And John briefly also discussed another small little pilot that we're doing with the Ray-Ban Meta glasses and seeing how that can help with job coaching. So we had a lot of positive feedback and a lot of interest from folks as it relates to assistive technologies and remote supports.
Thank you again. Great to see some of you at CalTash. I don't know if Carol Watillo is on, but I told you guys last week, she was one of the people that hosted the first town hall forum. Let's see, I'm going to share my screen real quickly. And just so one of the things that I think increasingly is helpful for us when we do these presentations is to make sure that we put the information on our website so that it's easily accessible. And so for Rhonda and I, we put many of our materials in the resource page, including housing and living options. And so in here, yeah, it's pretty cool. You can see the CalTash presentation, specifically the materials that Rhonda and I provided. It was neat because some of you in the past have received part of this presentation, but we were able to update it. So for example, like we have new information from our two housing access services companies about all of the clients and their families that they have been supporting. And so it's neat to be able to give like those updated numbers. Housing access services is very much an emerging service in the state of California. It is not something that has been offered to, hundreds and hundreds of people throughout the state previously. And it really is just becoming something that is taking off more widely. And so it's been awesome to be able to share the successes of both of our existing housing access services providers, and when it comes to supporting our local community here. So thank you very much for that, Rhonda. And then, we were able to talk a little bit more about our assistive technology pilot and also some of the work that we are doing with Odyssey. And some of you know Tyler from TK Momentum, but with Odyssey related to doing a pilot for Ray-Ban Meta glasses. So just like these awesome ones that are taking your guys' picture just now that I'm wearing, we're looking at utilizing glasses like this for people that are doing supported employment. So how nice to not have your job coach following you around places, right, Carly? So I want to touch on one other thing real quickly on Alta's website before I get to getting into actually talking about job coaching and things like that. So for service providers, whether you're a new service provider or a long-term service provider, it's important that you're able to navigate our website and understand where to find information for you that are our staff as well. You might be interested in knowing where this information is if it's not something that you're familiar with. I'm a service provider. All right. Current providers. All right. Accounting and e-billing. These are things that if you are a service provider, you should know where to look at. And this list is the who to contact list. And we met with Robin LeMay this morning. We always meet with her every Friday before we meet with you guys to find out what updates there are from accounting that need to be shared. But this is your guys' new listing for your bill payers. So I know some of you guys obviously get in contact with them. And so just want to make sure that you guys know that we have a new bill payer listing that has been updated and it's on our website. And so please don't hesitate to check that out. All right. I am now going to roll into the chat because I see that we've got some things that have populated in there. Okay, so Kate has a reminder about the Coordinated Career Pathways training that is coming up on March 16th. Does anyone from Progressive want to say anything more about that? I know we've talked about that in this session previously, but if anyone else has anything else that they want to share about that, or I don't know, we might have some new folks on that haven't heard about it previously.
Sure, I can talk about it.
Thank you, Kate.
I will actually share our
You can share your
registration.
screen. I was
Yeah,
gonna say, you can share your screen if you want to, Kate.
perfect. Let
No
me
problem.
get it up.
This is how much more time we have when I don't do my long introductions at the beginning of the meeting. We'll try
Yeah.
it out, see how it goes.
So we have a bunch of grant trainings happening. The next one is the CCP training that I put in the chat. But speaking of, you can go to this website and it has all of the trainings listed. If you click on the CCP person-centered career training, it has the 3 options. This one for March 16th is the next one. They're all free. This one is virtual. You just have to register and indicate that you're from Alta. And it should be a really cool training. My coworker Pam Haney Slinkert is going to be talking about how to develop a person-centered career plan. So if you're getting started with the Coordinated Career Pathways Service, this is the training for you. And then we also have a paid internship, technical assistance training, some ACRE trainings list, 1 ACRE training listed. Yeah, so please take a look at this website. We have, a lot of options for you, and we would love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Please don't hesitate to reach out to them if you guys have any questions. All right, let's see here. What else we got in the chat? Someone is working on the new standardized vendorization. What I would recommend is, let's see here. Since submissions are expected within 5 days, could we submit the application or receipt for the business license while awaiting the official? So we're in the final stages of submitting our vendorization materials. An outstanding item is the county business license certificate, which may take 30+ days to be certificate. Since the submissions are within 5 days, could we submit the application or receipt for the business license while awaiting the business certificate? How will this affect our approval? So our client service, or excuse me, our community services manager, Michelle Dusain, has a little smile on her face because we spent all morning talking about standardized vendorization and people that are partially in the process. And it makes it kind of tough. Things are a little bit more rigid than they used to be, right, Michelle? Like when it came to, we really need a lot of this information given to us during the course of that process. Otherwise, the process really cannot move forward. Correct, Michelle?
Correct. Yeah. A lot of those licenses that are required that we were able to kind of go through that process, the system and the timeline the department has identified no longer allows for that flexibility. We are pretty close to updating the website to let you know whatever service you're providing, the things that you really need to have before you submit that letter of interest. And unfortunately, the business license has to be completed, the application. We've heard that usually we've heard 2 weeks, we've heard 30 days. So within that submission timeline, we really need that license before we can move it over to the determination phase, and eventually that 30-day will run out. So we do we recognize the limited flexibility, but the system doesn't allow that for us anymore. So you would need your actual program, your business license before we could move forward, and that might cause a resubmission.
Roughly, Michelle, or approximately, how many applicants have we received through this new system?
In total or active right now?
In total.
Probably I would say about 200 total. I was in there last night. I told my team 9 o'clock at night in there, and we still had applicants rolling in. So it's right now, I think we have about 57 in the submission phase, and about 58 in the, I'll actually give you exact numbers. Give me 1 second. We have 54 in the requirement stage, and we have 82 in submission phase right now. But we have processed probably about 150, and unfortunately had to close a lot of those because of the information requested not being submitted in that 15-day requirement phase. So please just make sure if you are requesting to add a service, please make sure you monitor that your portal for that additional information that is needed for that requirements phase.
I will give the reminder that I gave to our management team, agency-wide, and just, this is a completely different job than what our community services specialists were doing before. The people, we've got like almost 36 people that handle vendorizations, like individually at our regional center, that are all funneling their information through a very small number of vendor coordinators that are actually doing the communicating with this. So we are doing our very best to onboard this new system that we have not had to utilize previously as regional centers, but then also looking at the severe limitations that this system puts on our ability to like manage workload, because again, previously our staff have been able to be very hands-on and communicative to back and forth with applicants. Now the process is really through that state standardized system. And if we don't see that we have what is needed, we have to just do a rejection, and because the volume of applicants that we receive is just huge. I mean, it is absolutely huge. Continue moving forward. We're going to be front loading information onto our website, because we also continue to receive numerous applicants for new services in areas where we already have a significant number of vacancies with other providers. And so again, I've used this illustration in a few different realms. It's a great problem to have. It's a great challenge where we now have a lot of different choices of different vendors, but it also, we have a lot of applicants that we are processing as well. So I want to acknowledge that our staff is trying to do things that they have not had to do previously. Even like our most experienced people have never had to manage bringing on new service providers this way. And so for those of you that are doing these applications, because we know that that's some of you as well, just please continue to be as patient as possible. We are all learning this process. Michelle and her view into the directory herself has been able to learn a lot. And so we, again, are just continuing as a department to do our very best to process as many of these. And I really want to commend you guys, because our staff have worked very hard to implement this, along with the continued ongoing rate reform changes that are happening as well. with that, Michelle, I did want to go over a couple of the new directives that the department has posted. And then I don't know if you wanted me to navigate to maybe the QIP stuff one last time, but I'm going to share my screen with the directives real quickly. One of the reasons why we do a Coffee with Community Services meeting is because there's been over 250 different directives that have been issued to the regional center since the state of California expanded their kind of directive authority ability over the last few years. Regional centers have these directives saved. You hopefully are seeing DDS's website as I navigate to where the regional center directives are held. There is another landing page for directives that are specifically related to rate reform. There's two of them that are in here. I'm going to start with the job development one, and then I will go to the case management one after that. And certainly I can share the transportation rates again too. So we were talking about housing access services a little bit earlier, and the ways in which you can support people to get into housing are not necessarily wildly different than trying to create different types of job opportunities for them in the future as well. And so the department put this out, and the reason why I bring that up is not all of the activities are going to happen with the client right next to you. And so, Carly, I think that's what more than anything we see from this new directive that they put out here is that there are activities that may need to go on where the client may be receiving another service at that literal exact same moment, correct? But you might be on the phone with Home Depot trying to support that individual getting work there.
Yep, absolutely. If anyone who has done, any kind of job development for clients know that up until now, you've only been able to bill on the direct service. And so this is something that has been talked about for a long time, and it's finally being implemented so that anything you are doing on behalf of that client can be billed.
We'll say a few years ago, Dan Kilmer would have loved to have something like this when he was writing up housing access services and how to be able to do billing for housing access services with Jay Colvard. So I appreciate that they came out with something, right, Dan? Wouldn't this have been really nice to have when we were coming out with housing access services? Because we actually had to just create that, right, as part of our own contract to outline what some of those billable opportunities are. And I just appreciate that the department made it super clear in a directive format here. I just want to see if anyone had any questions about that at all. Any questions about that? Certainly, I think in the upcoming vendor forums that you guys will have, this is something that you may be discussing, but just wanted to make sure folks saw that. And then there is a very lengthy document. And actually, I love this document for training purposes for any of our community services staff that have not been in service coordination. So I was lucky that for 7 years, I got to supervise service coordinators at our regional center. But when I first started here, I worked in the community services department and had not worked as a service coordinator. And I really had to learn what some of those responsibilities that the service coordinators have to making purchase of service determinations. And so as part of the planning team. So I think it's really cool. The department took some time. They created a 6-page long document here, but in looking at the why, it really outlines both in statute and in regulation here, very clearly what the responsibilities of the regional center service coordination is when it comes to purchasing of services. So I really just, for you as service providers, definitely want, this is something that has a great summary all in one place. There is no new created content. So this directive does not create anything new. All it does is take the information that's spread about in different places and put it all in one place. And so I appreciate it. Again, for any of our new staff that have never been service coordinators before, I probably would have really, really appreciated this when I was a new community services specialist. So I understand all the ways in which case management goes about making determinations for purchase of service. it's super exhaustive. It brings in some of the newer stuff like the social recreation services, camping, which is what, just the last 5 years now, medical and dental services, which is I think just the last 3 years now or 2 years now, as well. So again, very in-depth information on DDS's website here. I don't know if Toby's on, but Jordan certainly in the past has had to deal with our out-of-state purchasing of services as well and the requirements. So just I appreciate helpful information like this being given by the department that really summarizes all of this material on one kind of easy to read directive here. So just wanted to share that the department put that out here recently, and want to encourage people to check that out. All right. Oh yeah, totally. I will link that in the chat as well for people for the yeah, especially for this. Again, this case management document is something that would be super helpful. Right on. All right. Michelle, I wonder if we just wanted to update folks or talk with them at all about the Department of Developmental Services, QIP, any of that type of stuff. I'm happy to share my screen and navigate to anything if you feel like there's anything we might want to share on DDS's website as it relates to QIP. Just one more time.
Yeah, so as you navigate, we're, we've been told that by the department that they are, like we talked about last time, that they are looking at the impact of all of the information, the emails that they were not able to get to. John, I don't know if you have a number. I think that you might have heard.
I'm allowed to say it. I believe I am allowed to say that my understanding is that the department had over 2,000 tickets that they were responding to as it related to the provider directory. So that is a significant amount of service providers throughout the state that have reached out. I will share our regional centers' personal experience over this last week or so has not been the most encouraging as it relates to responsiveness and communication from the department as it relates to the provider directory. And that's with, us getting actively involved, me getting actively involved, trying to get responses as well from the state. What I am hearing is just a level of overwhelmingness. And Michelle, the message that we heard from them is keep your correspondence. I feel like I am a broken record because I've had to say this message to you guys now like multiple times over the last 15 months. But the department acknowledges that they may not get through all of the correspondence and back and forth. So please, as they have done before, retain your agency's communication with the folks from the provider directory, because you may be able to use that later on for the purposes of showing like proof of compliance, for example. We do, for those of you that have issues in any way about the quality incentive program, we do want to remind folks that the state has a public meeting that folks can join related to all of this. I think it's very important for vendors. Sorry, Michelle, do I want to go to which link will I follow here?
Bottom
follow
left.
this one, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. And then here again, this is in essence where you can find all of the information that is needed. And I think this is where you've told me to go before, provider survey status. Is that right, Michelle? Or
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And then scroll
And so-
down. I think it should be below. It looks like they've made some changes to it. Yeah, provider QIP survey.
So this is okay. And they've got the statuses on there. Again, just want to ensure everyone that logs into this meeting every week feels like they can know where to access this information on DDS's website. Again, I have to just reiterate, like the process for QIP and things like that, we have a role at our regional center, but like the communication and things is really coming directly from the Department of Developmental Services. We're not included in that communication that goes on between you all and them. And so more than anything, we have to, I think, just as a system, get ourselves in this mindset that the provider directory is where it's at. That is where things are going to happen. And we need to ensure that we're getting that, communication very clearly from them. But it is extremely frustrating and concerning. We had I think a little bit of a discussion. Well, we certainly have had discussions here. I think we talked about it briefly at our provider advisory committee meeting. I would not be surprised if it doesn't come up again when vendors get together next week as well, that, there has been frustration about the tickets and getting the tickets closed out, getting responses from the Department of Developmental Services. So again, they told us to make sure to let you all know to please keep your correspondence that you've had with them. And then I know, like Michelle Duchesne specifically, and maybe others have been able to help support some people in their communication directly with DDS about some of this stuff. But again, I understand it's a cost-saving measure. Like, I get it. Like, it's like you guys are supposed to lose money on this, and that's the state's whole idea for implementing this, is that it's a cost-saving measure. But it is very impactful to us to have our service providers lose the amount that they're already getting funded for services for any period of time. And so I just want to make sure everyone's fully informed about this, and recognizing that, certainly very serious with the regional center for that. All right. I am going to just jump real quickly over, because the directors of client services are all meeting downstairs, which means we don't have Michelle Johnson or any of those folks on. So I just wanted to jump over to Alta's calendar, if that's okay, real quickly, and just remind people of some of the upcoming opportunities that we have here. Oh, cool. I love it that we start off with an adaptive tennis class too. That's awesome. That is a reminder for all of you service providers that, please don't hesitate to reach out with us with the activities and things that you'd like to have posted on our events calendar. Love to have this thing just packed with stuff, because you guys are all doing so many things. We have upcoming annual purchase of service data meeting. There's a lot of different things that are on here. A big one for you all that I always want to make sure that you're attending is the Provider Advisory Committee. It's a cool opportunity to meet people in person. I know we do this meeting, virtually, but it's just different getting to be around people in person. I know I really have appreciated it, especially like I got to meet, we had a number of transportation service providers that at one time were coming. And it's just, again, it's just nice to talk to people in person. It's nice to hear directly from people like what, is kind of going on. So just want to encourage people to please take advantage of our Provider Advisory Committee meeting. The annual purchase of service data meeting, the information is included right in here. We have opportunities on the 13th and 18th. So please just don't hesitate to sign up for that one. I know we've talked about some of these other things that are coming up, but I do want to just mention this briefly, because I don't know how much we've talked about it in here. But we had some folks from case management that were involved in developing some of these training materials for new client orientation. When I go around to like the community, sometimes people have been with us for years and years, and sometimes people are new. And there's always these questions about, getting oriented to the regional center. And I was I think I mentioned it maybe last week, but we had a listening session for the African-American community like about a week and a half ago. I think Dana updated us on it last week. But anyways, one of the feedback that we received was that the regional center is not one of those things that we should need special navigators for. Like, it should not be that hard to navigate the regional center system. And so I just really appreciate that we are putting some of these additional materials out there to make it even easier for our community to really understand our services and supports. I'm going to check in real quick. I don't know, Jordan, if we have anything else. I don't know that we do, or Michelle or Scott. Helen said she was having some issues with her camera there, so.
I just have a reminder, John, of our
Yes.
transportation vendor forum that is on the 23rd of this month.
Yes.
We're working closely with R&D to develop that. If you guys have any additional agenda items you would like us to talk about, please email Damien or myself so that we can be sure to include that.
We've only had 2 transportation rate methodology changes since our last meeting. So that is crazy. We still are getting changes to the transportation rates, and are looking forward to talking with folks at our upcoming forum. Want to thank everyone for joining us here today. A little reminder, we're going to have Kibu on if you're interested in hearing from them a little bit more next week about some of their services and supports to the Spotlight. And other than that, we're hoping that everyone has a great week, and looking forward to seeing many of you hopefully next week in person at our Provider Advisory Committee. All right. Thank you, folks. Have a great weekend.